blame everyone else? Why doesn't he do his job, get round the table and get the trains running?
He's still a little worried.
Now, Mick Lynch, who's the man leading the strike today for the RMT, is waiting for us at Euston Station. Mr. Lynch, good morning to you. It's going to be a busy day for you today. Can we just get one thing nailed to the wall before we get going here? You've been accused severally in the last few weeks of being a Marxist. It happened again last night. A backbench Tory MP said you were a Marxist with no interest in anything other than trying to tear down the government. Now, are you or are you not a Marxist? Because if you are a Marxist, then you're into revolution and into bringing down capitalism. So are you or aren't you?
Richard, you do come up with the most remarkable twaddle sometimes, I've got to say.
I didn't say you were a Marxist. I'm saying that you're being accused of being a Marxist, and that's not twaddle. That's called reporting.
No, I'm not. I'm not a Marxist. I'm an elected official of the RMT. I'm a working-class bloke leading a trade union dispute about jobs, pay and conditions of service. So it's got nothing to do with Marxism. It's all about this dispute. It's an industrial dispute, and that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. I emphasise I am not talking twaddle and accusing you of being a Marxist. I'm merely quoting people who are, including...
Simply quoting people who are. What a pussy. He can't even fucking say it himself. So he has to traffic it within, like, many people are saying, or other people are saying. No, you're saying it. But you're not even brave enough to be able to outright say it. Yeah, he is a fucking twaddle. A twaddle.
Well, that's what it sounds like to me.
Well, I'm sorry if it did, but I don't think it was. But anyway, to be absolutely clear, you are not a Marxist. Fine. Tell us about this letter that you saw last night.
I'm also not the international centre of evil, which Piers Morgan calls me the other night.
All right,
I'm leading an industrial dispute, Richard, and I'm trying to get a settlement to it.
All right, enough of the badinage. Let's get down to detail. This letter that you saw last night about redundancies, are they voluntary redundancies or mandatory redundancies?
They're a statutory notice of redundancy, so they will be compulsory if we can't get an agreement that they're not. So at the moment, they're the statutory redundancy notice, which is compulsory under law.
And has that raised the ante?
2,900 was the number.
Yeah, 900. And has that
raised...
raised...
Well, it's an escalation of the dispute, isn't it? What?
Carry on.
It's an escalation of the dispute, Richard. We went over there last night, and they said that we'd get an increased revised pay offer and some revisions to what they had on the table. Instead of doing that, they've issued a statutory redundancy notice. So that is an escalation of the dispute and makes it harder to get a settlement.
Mick Lynch, you did know that these redundancies were on the table. All you wanted was for it to be ruled out that they would be compulsory. Have you got any further in understanding that? Because what the other side is saying, and we've got Network Rail on, is that they believe that they can get the majority of these through voluntary redundancy, given that so many of the workers are over 60, that actually that you're potentially escalating the narrative by suggesting that, you know, that they might all be compulsory, when in fact that isn't the case, is it?
Well, they might all be compulsory because it's a statutory redundancy notice. That implies compulsory redundancies. That's the way the statute works. It's a law that was brought in 1992 by the Tory government. So what we've got here is a situation where they're not offering any guarantee of no compulsory redundancies. They are imposing changes to working practices which will rip up the culture of the railway and rip up the protections that our members have.
What do they have on that? Wait, why do they censor it? What? Why do they fucking censor it?
In regards to work-life balance, rostering, weekend and night working. And they've also not given us a pay rise, in some cases on the railway, for up to 3 years. Now, there's a straightforward way to settle that, and the best way...
Bro, they're showing fucking trains. I mean, like, yeah, sure. Some people, not me, some people would find that to be, you know, porn. Material that you can jerk off to. Definitely not myself. I would never jerk off to a train. But they didn't have a license for it. No, you don't have a fucking license for the telly, bruv. You don't. Do you have a license for that? Do you have a fucking license for that train footage, bruv?
To do it is for the government to unshackle the companies so that we can get a settlement. And I'm sure if they did that, I could reach agreement with these companies fairly quickly.
The problem is, of course, that you can't even get the Labour Party on side, at least not publicly. That's a
See, that's so whack. Like, they're using anything and everything they can against this fucking labor action. And it's so wild that they are able to fucking use Keir Starmer's inaction in this circumstance against the fucking labor movement that is only driving a rift between the Labour Party and the labor union. What the fuck? Make no mistake. This action and this union in general is more popular within the Labour Party than Keir Starmer is. Okay? It's literally called the Labour Party. It is not called the Bourgeois Party. It's not called the Capital Party. It is called the Labour Party. Okay? And the motherfucker that was tasked with dismantling any kind of momentum and power, any kind of leftist momentum that the Labour Party had, is very successfully doing that currently by not openly fucking advocating for an act of labor militancy that is broadly popular, more popular than the person who is in charge of the Labour Party at the moment.
problem for you, isn't it? You can't get your traditional party who are there, you give donations to the Labour Party. How angry are you about that?
We don't give any donations to the Labour Party. That's another myth. We are not affiliated to the Labour Party. I'm not a member of the Labour Party, and we have no formal association with them. It's not a problem that we can't get Labour on side. Labour's problem is they can't get working people on side, and they can't get them to vote for them in traditional working class areas. And one of the reasons for that is they're not identifying with working class people who have problems created by low pay, precarious work, and a lack of conditions.
Fucking right. He's literally right. The Labour Party is like literally the American Democratic Party. Straight up.
So what Keir Starmer and his team need to do is come up with some policies and ideas that connect with working people. I want him to succeed. I want him to be the next Prime Minister, and I want Boris Johnson gone because he's a disaster for this country and all the people that live in it. If Keir Starmer can do that and connect up with the traditional Labour Party heartlands and the working class base, he will succeed and bring change to this country. But it's up to him how he does that. It'll have no effect whatsoever whether Keir Starmer supports us in this dispute or not. What we need is the support of our members and the support of working class people in working class communities.
All right,
and I'm sure we're going to get that because they're all looking for pay rises as well.
I don't know if you'll describe this as twaddle as well, but this is what David Blunkett, former frontbencher, of course, said last night, and I quote, "I am a lifelong trade unionist. I am proud to belong to one of Britain's largest unions. But to be specific, I believe in modern trade unionism. What I don't believe in is one set of workers knocking 7 bells out of another set." So if there is a class war going on, it's sort of within the same class, he's saying. Well, what would you say to Mr Blunkett this morning?
I'd say he's talking nonsense. What this is about is our members being threatened. We've got an aggressive attitude from the employers. They're using COVID as a smokescreen. And what David Blunkett ought to do...
Yeah, I'm just a new kind of trade unionist. You know, one that fucking ends up not supporting union actions. Dude, listen. If you're a fucking trade unionist, if you're a lifelong trade unionist, why in the ever-loving fuck would you ever turn around and criticize the one instance where a union can show its collective power? Okay? Without strikes, the union has nothing. There is no way for a worker to demonstrate what kind of value it brings to the fucking table without work stoppages. That is the case, okay? The work stoppage is the gun. The trade unionist does not have an actual gun. The state has the gun. So what can the trade unionist do? What does a worker do? A worker shows how much power they have only when they are collectively engaging in a work stoppage. That's it. Blunkett was literally this guy 30 years ago. Then the blind bastard sold out to Tony Blair. I'm a new unionist, which is like when unions have no power whatsoever. Dude, if you ever find yourself against a fucking work stoppage, when it comes to like real labor unions, obviously, I'm not talking about fucking the dumb shit like the police union or whatever. Okay? Then you're not pro-union. That's it.
Is identify with other workers who need a similar deal to the one that the RMT is campaigning
I hate
for.
the media. I hate the British
happen to be
media
at
so
the
much.
front and centre of these problems. But the teachers' unions are telling us they're going to campaign. Unison, the health service union and the public services union are telling us they're going to campaign. Even the criminal barristers in this country are going to be having a strike ballot. So there's something wrong in this society. Wealth is imbalanced. There are super billionaires. There are more rich people than they've ever been. They've never been wealthier. And while we've got full employment, we've got falling real wages. That has got to be addressed. People are in full-time jobs are taking state benefits and they're having to go to food banks to feed themselves. Now, anyone can work that out. You don't have to be a Marxist or a social scientist to work out that there's a problem at the heart of our society. And
Incredible
it's up to the
take.
trade
Brilliant
unions
take.
to bring back balance and bring back equality to the workplace, and that's what we're part of,
All right,
and
Mr.
that's
Lynch.
what we intend to do.
All right, now listen, Ranveer has a question for you about Grant Shapps in a moment, but just before that, I want to play you something that we had on yesterday's programme. We interviewed live a professor who's an oncologist, whose job it is to save lives and to extend lives. He treats people with cancer.
Oh,
and this is what he had
fuck
to say
off,
about-
mate! Fuck off! Dude. The worst. Oh my God, British media is the fucking worst, dude. They are so bad. They're so devious. They're so mischievous. They're such little tricksters, dude. Oh my God. They are one step removed from being like, well, listen, we brought into the studio a dying cancer patient. This is a daughter. This is a young daughter, 7 years old. She's taking the tube every day to go to her meeting at the hospital. And guess what? You are saying you're going to die. Tell this 7-year-old girl that she is going to die right now. Because that's what you're doing. It's literally the day-to-day. This is Alan Partridge. This is the day-to-day. This is straight up a one-to-one comparison to every fucking thing I've seen that Armando Iannucci has come up with as a fucking form of satire. It literally slap this 7-year-old girl in the face right now. You're going to die, little girl. I want you to say, you're going to die, little girl, right now. Say it. And don't erase Chris Morris. Of course, I love Chris Morris. Sorry, yeah. This is insane. Like, this is literally something out of a fucking, like a bit. It's a Alan Partridge bit. It's fucking crazy, dude. Yes, that's right. Labor union action. Well, very nice. We brought a cancer patient here. We want you to shoot her with a gun. Because that's what you're doing with your selfish, entitled attitude.
About the effects of the action that your men and women are taking today.
Oncology services are under a particular breaking point at the moment.
Shut the fuck up, dude. You fucking bitch. Shut the fuck up.
Due to catch up from lockdown and difficulty recruiting, etc. So this is going to lead to loss of lives. Maybe not now, but in the next few months.
Dude, how do you work for the state as a part of the NHS? Well, I mean, I guess he's a consultant, but like, how are you a doctor who literally is a fucking state employee and you fucking sit here and you like literally side with the Tories over a fucking labor action, dude? What the fuck? He's a private consultant, isn't he? There's no shot he works for the NHS. He works with the NHS. There's no shot.
He's saying basically that this strike is going to cost lives. People with cancer are going to die, and they wouldn't have done if they'd been able to get their treatment today and later in the week and on Saturday.
The only answer in the situation is we understand how severe our role is in society, which is precisely why our demands are reasonable and that they should be met. That's it. Simple as. Like saying, that seagull shouldn't have pinched me fucking chip, bruv. Simple as. That's it. Our demands are fucking simple, yeah? Fucking give us more money. It's a reasonable Tell the cancer story to the fucking Tories.
Well, I don't accept that.
Where, of course he doesn't accept that. Law, I don't know how you know how to comprehend the politics of other countries. It's pretty interesting how entertaining you make British politics seem. Dude, all countries' politics are fucking is entertaining. Are they really gonna die though? Like, just take a taxi, just make sure it's not a fake taxi. No, he can't say that. Like, I mean, he can. Technically, that is the truth. Like, just take a fucking cab or use the bus lines, right? But ultimately, he's not going to say that. He shouldn't say that because it's a bad look, because that's what they're trying to get him to say. They're trying to get him to say that so they can say, look how fucking out of touch this bald fuck is, right? So what you're supposed to say is like, yeah, you're right. Your admission and endorsement is appreciated for the power of our union and for how worthwhile every single worker that is under our union is. You're admitting that. That's kind of the point of a fucking work stoppage, isn't it? And that's precisely why, if you want to fucking end this work stoppage, then, get the fucking employers on board. Stop yelling at me, yell at the employers.
And I don't accept that railway... Well, I don't accept that, and I don't accept that railway workers are the cause of the problems in the oncology departments of hospitals. My own wife is an NHS nurse. I've got many friends and family that work in the NHS, and of course the NHS is crying out for proper funding. Most of the problems in the NHS are caused by rampant privatisation and profiteering by...
by fucking... and also consultants like that dickhead.
Private sector providers that are currently consuming the NHS. Now, we don't have to have this dispute.
Yeah.
This dispute is caused by government policy. And if we can get a settlement for that, we can move the people around, they can get to their appointments, get to the workplace, and enjoy their leisure activities.
And on that
we want
point,
a settlement as keenly as anyone else.
And on that point, you mentioned the government.
Rail workers are not killing cancer patients.
Would it have made any difference to today's strike if Grant Shapps...
Bro, this guy is cool as a fucking cucumber, dude. He's like those old British rapper guys, you know what I mean? Like, he just reminds me of these dudes, dude.
Talking a lingo, BMW, black tap windows, hands in the air, bingo, make you see stars, Ringo, go, one on each finger.
Pete and Bass.
Ninja, don't speak till I say so, or the beat might sting ya. Bring in the back, bring in the back, jokes in the front, stands in the pack.
That's him.
Too much umming and ahhing, quick 1, 2, I'ma bring back sparring. Too much farting around, oats and carting around, slap, bang, too much talk in the air, not enough smoke on the books. Watch, no time on me hands, discount merch in the back of the van, damn, all permanent slap, no need to pay when I'm taking a cab. Look in me eyes, I ain't here for the pork with the pies, had enough of that dirt, don't get wise, these hands don't care about another man's size. Alright, guess it's it cause I'm on that phone, leave me alone, how much for the flight, how much for the holiday home, okay, let me get back to the matter at hand, sit yourself down, I need hands on the table, Stone Island, check the label.
He says Stone Island, check the label. What the fuck, dude? Anyway, okay, yeah. Let's keep
Shapps
going.
had turned up at the negotiating table.
Yeah, I got Stone Island at the negotiation table. Stone Island!
Yes, it would, because you would have to stop telling lies about the situation and start facing reality. Grant Shapps is at the negotiating table, albeit in a form that leaves him to one side on the end of a telephone, on the end of a Zoom call. His officials are dictating the mandate of the train operating companies.
So consultants in the NHS are not private consultants and they're still like employed by the state? Is that what you're saying? Consultants are what they call senior doctors in the UK, dude, like attending physician in the US? Oh, okay. That makes sense. What a very weird distinction. Okay, then you should ask the consultant if he would work for like half the fucking pay that he was getting currently. And like doctor salaries are already low in the UK in comparison to American doctor salaries. So just ask him. Like, yo, would you do that? You know, would you work for fucking 50 grand? Would you work for less benefits? No, shut the fuck up.
and Network Rail, and they're doing that actively, and nobody on the management side of the table is denying it. Every time they speak to us or we put a suggestion to them, they have to leave the room and then go and phone their political bosses in Whitehall. So they may as well get on with it. Either he facilitates a mandate that's going to settle this dispute, or he sends people to the table, his officials or himself, that can settle the dispute directly. So this is all down to him. It's all his responsibility, and he can negotiate with us directly or let the managers get on with it.
I love this dude.
Okay, thank you.
He has done such a good fucking job, dude. It is crazy to see someone so competent absolutely boulder these fucking weirdos, dude. It is really, really cool to see these right-wing, psychotic Tory pieces of shit, these elitist, out-of-touch Tory pieces of shit get eviscerated by just a fucking, straightforward union dude. Navigating the media tricks and chatters yesterday were like, but he makes 85K. Yeah, I mean, dude, it's just people were already doing that shit in here. People that claim to be leftists love doing that dumb shit, dude. It'll be you in a decade or two. You think I'm going to become a union organizer? What are you, fucking crazy, dude? I'm in media and as an independent person. Like, I can't fucking organize for shit. That's why I tell you guys to organize and try to show you the proper union leaders and the organizers that you can learn from. Oh, you just meant bald. Okay, yeah, that's true. Yeah, That's true. That is true. Yes, I am. Fuck you. Okay? Fuck yourself. Yeah, there was some like fucking Twitter take that somebody snitch tagged, and I was so close to being like, bro, I agree with this person. It was like an organizer who's like on Twitter as well, saying like, if you get your talking points from like streamers, you're a fucking idiot or whatever. And it was like, yeah, I mean, you're right. Like, I don't have any fucking organizing experience. I have workplace experience, but I certainly don't have experience organizing, which is why I get my talking points and develop my understanding by talking to organizers. That's it. Like, I know what I'm good at, and I know what I'm not good at. You got people to organize? What the fuck? No, of course I do that. You can go to strikes. No, I mean, I support that. Of course I support that. But that person that posted that on Twitter is a Nazi, by the way. Wait, what? Really? Yeah, I mean, I have people in this community that are working. I have people in this community that are organizers, that I work with organizers. That's it. That's what I do. I think the difference is some people get their talking points from legit debate bros. Yeah, I'm not a debate bro. So organizing doesn't pay, Pepela. Yeah, that's why I do this. I'm in it for the money, boys. That's why I became a leftist political commentator way before there were even any prominent examples of leftist commentators that make money in a incredibly reactionarily slanted fucking media ecosystem that even the likes of Charlie Kirk can become multimillionaires in as long as they say the right things. That's why I chose to do this and became probably the only, if not like one of the handful of fucking leftist individuals that have actually gained a shitload of prominence and therefore also accrued wealth in this sector, as opposed to the thousands, tens of thousands of right-wing or neoliberal commentators. That's why I did it. Because I'm a fucking dumbass, okay? I'm a fucking idiot. I'm both simultaneously a devious capitalist propagandist, but also the biggest dumbass on the planet. That's why I chose to do the worst possible way. It's always funny. It's like, dude, I can't believe it. Like, bro, you chose a lane. You chose a lane. It's like, no, motherfucker, I made the lane. Like, what are you talking about? I literally made the lane. If I chose a lane, there'd be plenty of other examples in this lane that I'm following. Like, what do you mean? I chose this lane that was like so fortunate. I mean, it's a wild fucking take. Like, there are a million examples of people who fucking make a shitload more than I do and try to max out on their revenue initiatives non-fucking stop, and no one fucking yells at them. Yeah, bro, sometimes you gotta fucking take your cock out and put it on the table, okay? This is one of those instances, all right? I gotta do that. Like, you know, there are hucksters. There are liars that cloak themselves under the fucking politics of being a leftist. There are plenty of examples out there. You know what I mean? There are plenty of examples of them out there, and some of them are literally funded by fucking Peter Thiel. You know what I mean? Like, there are now grifters, but people like Sam Cedar, even Jank. You might disagree with Sam Cedar. You might disagree with Jank. Well, you probably won't disagree with Sam Cedar, but like you might disagree with Jank in certain respects. But ultimately, like they are genuine with what they do. You know? It's such bullshit. You went literally counterculture, Twitch and YouTube, and are massively populated with many more conservative views and creators. It's wild they would make claims about you. Yeah, dude. We can't even fucking put our emotes out there without fucking people getting mass harassed by psychotic reactionaries everywhere on the fucking internet, and people are still like, nah, dude, you did this for monetary gain. I think there are people in the Young Turks who see dollar signs for sure. Dude, no one is gonna fucking put up with this level of ass fucking, okay? For just dollars, especially if you're a media person, especially if you're in media, and you can very easily take a way more palatable approach. It's just the truth. There is no like people aren't getting mass death threats nonstop, cyber stalking nonstop, harassment campaigns non-fucking stop for being like a middle of the ground liberal on MSNBC. They do get it every now and then, but never to the same fucking degree that I have to deal with it. People don't get this shit when they're a right-winger, okay? The most is like when they slip up and like the mask falls and they say some like overtly racist shit. They'll have a week-long campaign, but the Republican Party or the Republican media side is never going to fucking cancel them. The only prominent examples of like cancellation, which can only happen from your own ideological lane, your own ideological avenue, your own people can cancel you. That's it. It's only your own people that can cancel you. And the right never, ever fucking cancels their own people. They don't do that. They don't do that.
Who's your political hero?
James Connolly.
James Connolly.
Do you know who James Connolly is? He was an Irish socialist Republican. And he educated himself and he started non-sectarian trade unionism in Ireland. And he was a hero of the Irish Revolution.
So he is your hero. No,
He's a hero.
What about who's?
That's awesome. The right literally canceled Madison Cawthorn, Lamau. It wasn't even, I mean, it was center right. It was like liberals that started that pack, by the way. It wasn't just the right that canceled them. But that's an exception that does not prove the rule, by the way. Like, or that does not destroy the rule. Same with fucking, same with Milo Yiannopoulos. But yeah, for the record, that actually, you know, that still proves the original point I was making, which is that, you can only be canceled by your own side. You know? I think a lot of creators on the left just care more too. I don't know. It's complicated. No, I don't think so. I don't think it's that they care. I think that their worldview is wrong. I think that leftists who are like constantly seeking out cleaning their own backyard or whatever the fuck when we are powerless against institutional power are just fucking pathetic little, not to use you know, the funny term to use right now with what's going on in the Canadian Communist Party or whatever, but wreckers, okay? That's what they are.
Mick, if I could just finish for a second. You've lost 20% of the passengers on the railway since COVID.
I haven't lost them.
That's not the fault of you and the railway. But we need to encourage those people.
Trains all through that period.
We need to encourage those people back. The worst way in which you can do that is by alienating your customers, by going on strike and making their lives much more difficult.
The worst way you could do it is insist that the fares go up by RPI, ripping off the commuters, but you won't give the workers RPI. The fares go up by RPI every year, the retail price index. That's the government regulations. Last year, profits were made by the train operators. £500 million out of that subsidy you gave went to those companies. First Group and Go Ahead, who we're negotiating with, are both subject to takeovers from private equity companies. They're going to be worth billions because they know that you're going to keep siphoning money from the public purse into private sector operators, just as you're doing in health,
what's
education,
actually happened in the
care.
last 2 years is, in effect, a large swathe of the rails have been
I've got to bring in
nationalised. So the idea that this is siphoning profits to the private sector is
Crazy. I can't believe privatization that we decided would solve the problem of underfunding has only made the problem worse. Of course, what's the solution? More privatization, obviously. This only proves that you know, these services that were in operation and working perfectly fine prior to privatization, the only way to fix it is to privatize it further. It's wonderful. There's no other situation where like you just throw more fucking lighter fluid on an already lit fire to try to solve it.
It's made £100 million profit.
And Nick, I mean, this is all.
It's fucking awesome. Damn, Huffington Post co-UK, Mick Lynch's scathing performance in interviews even wins praise by Hugh Laurie for cleaning up during his media rounds. The union boss delivered some killer lines on TV while defending this week's strike action. Very nice. Very fucking nice, bruv. Nice. He's killing it, bruv. Straight killing it.
Should Keir Starmer be disciplining the Labour MPs who went to the front line? Angela Rayner was treading a very careful line. She didn't go to the picket line, but she sent out a tweet saying she understands and supports them.
Keir Starmer's forgotten why it's called the Labour Party. It's not called the Middle Management Party. It's not called the Wealthy Retirees Party. It's called the Labour Party because it was formed by trade unions, by workers, to have their voice heard in Parliament. So if, as a Labour leader, you're saying to your MPs you are not allowed to go on a picket line, what are you for? You're essentially a Liberal Democrat with less charisma. Should Keir Starmer...
Ooh, goddamn. Straight up. A Liberal Democrat with less charisma? Goddamn. Okay, Ash. Navarra Media is eating good, like I said. Shouts out to Navarra Media. Shouts out to the fucking, you know, the leftist, you know, British left. Your situation is so totally fucked, but for a good reason. I've talked about this before. I talked about this yesterday, actually. Like, part of the reason why the incredible, petulant, whiny, fucking vulturous, monstrous, parasitic, right-wing, Tory-backed media is so ruthless is because there's actual labor action in this country. In America, they don't even showcase their disdain for the working class because it never gets to that conversation. We are so successfully trapped in a never-ending battle to talk about whatever the fuck Republicans have decided we must talk about today. It sucks. What's happening at the CPC right now is very fucked up. The people blowing things up on Twitter are participating in factionalism and totally against the DC process. Not to mention they've totally misrepresented the actions of the party. Dude, I don't care. I literally don't care. And I don't think anyone really cares. It's just like the most like extremely online fucking conversation to have. I'm sure there's like some really horrible things happening in the party. I just don't care. It is like, don't get mad at me, guys, but it's irrelevant. Literally irrelevant. And no